Russian dictator Vladimir Putin said that he is ready to end the war in Ukraine. Donald Trump's team also is confident that the war in Ukraine could be finished in the upcoming months. Meanwhile, Russian army has destroyed the civilian airplane, has shot down the airplane of the Azerbaijan Airlines. So what is known about the current statements from Vladimir Putin regarding the ending the war in Ukraine, and what is the reaction for this, and what is the current position on Donald Trump's team to end the war in Ukraine as soon as possible? Russian dictator Vladimir Putin said that he is ready to end the war against Ukraine. However, he will aim to achieve all his goals. The statement was made during his annual press conference. Also, the Institute of Study of War is confident that Vladimir Putin rejects Trump's proposal on Ukraine, because there were some interesting statements from Kremlin regarding the peaceful settlement of the war in Ukraine. So Kremlin will not allow Ukraine to join NATO even in the future. So Kit Kellogg, Trump's special envoy for Ukraine in Russia, says that Ukraine could be banned from joining NATO and could join NATO, for example, after 10 or 20 years. However, Kremlin rejects this idea. Also, Kremlin would like Ukraine to limit the size of the Ukrainian armed forces to the 85,000 soldiers, and this is the same demand which was made to the Germany after the end of the First World War. So Vladimir Putin does not want Ukraine to live peacefully. He would like to have a weakened Ukraine with reduced armed forces, with limited military capability. And why does he want so? Why does he want Ukraine to reduce the size of its own army? Because he plans to attack Ukraine in the future, because he does not want Ukraine to have enough military capabilities to defend itself against Russian aggression. So this is the second demand for Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, and that's why he rejects Trump's proposal on Ukraine. The third demand is Ukraine's neutrality and demilitarization of Ukraine, and reducing the size of Ukraine's military capabilities. So Putin's aim is to weaken Ukraine, and to deter Ukraine from defending itself against Russian aggression. That's why Vladimir Putin aims to make Ukraine even more weaker, to force Ukraine to accept his ultimatums. That's why Institute of Study of War reported that Vladimir Putin, at least for now, rejects Trump's proposal for Ukraine. Meanwhile, Trump's special envoy for Ukraine in Russia, General Kit Kellogg, said that Donald Trump will aim at just, long and secure peace in Ukraine. So Kit Kellogg, for the first time, said that a just peace should be achieved in Ukraine as soon as possible. Also, Kit Kellogg earlier rejected Kremlin's ultimatum about the limitation of Ukraine's military capabilities. That's why Donald Trump will seek to achieve a long-lasting and just peace for Ukraine. However, he did not specify how exactly they would like to do that. However, Kit Kellogg recently, also earlier, proposed a plan how to end the war in Ukraine. He proposed to freeze the front lines, to ban Ukraine from joining NATO, and to deploy European peacekeeping forces to Ukraine to properly enforce a ceasefire deal between Ukraine and Russia, and to properly patrol a demilitarized zone between Ukrainian and Russian soldiers. Also, European leaders also support this idea, as well as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky is confident that deploying troops to Ukraine is a good idea. At the same time, President Zelensky proposed his own plan, how exactly he would like to end the war in Ukraine. According to the Washington Post, for the first time, President Zelensky is open to ending the war in Ukraine by enforcing a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. So President Zelensky supports this idea. However, he would like Ukraine to move forward with a ceasefire only after joining NATO. President Zelensky says that Ukraine should join NATO and Article 5 should be activated. for Ukraine's controlled territories. That's how Ukraine could agree with a ceasefire deal. If there is no Ukraine's membership in NATO, Ukraine would not have enough security guarantees to reach a ceasefire with Russia and to deter Russia from attacking Ukraine again in the future. Also, European leaders are discussing another ideas on ending the war in Ukraine. They would like to deploy peacekeeping forces to deter Russia from attacking Ukraine in the future. However, military experts are confident that permanent military presence of France, the United Kingdom and other European allies should be on the table. It is really important for Western allies to establish military installations in Ukraine in order to properly deter Russia from attacking Ukraine. However, for this time, Vladimir Putin rejects all proposals from Donald Trump's team. He only issues another ultimatums because he would not like Ukraine to have a prosperous and stable life. He will not like Ukraine to exist. That's why he would like Ukraine to reduce the size of its own armed forces, and this is so cynical because Ukraine now fights a war against Russia. However, Russia still does not want to bring peace to Ukraine. That's why Vladimir Putin rejects Putin's proposal and Putin's proposal and ideas on ending the war in Ukraine, and that's why Donald Trump supports another plan to deploy European peacekeeping forces. But big question is on whether Vladimir Putin would agree with that if he even issues ultimatums to Ukraine and other NATO members. At the same time, President Biden is working on another round of sanctions against Russia. Russia's oil fleet could be included in the next sanction list. The White House, according to the Washington Post, is preparing the last round of Western sanctions against Russia, and it seems like Western sanctions start to work properly with Russian economy because Russian dictator Vladimir Putin now starts to feel consequences of his decision to invade Ukraine, because the interest rate in Russia is more than 20%. GDP growth is slowed down by Western sanctions, and the situation will be even worse next year as long as Russia continues its illegal war against Ukraine. And in the end of our conversation, we will cover recent incidents. So Russia has shot down civilian airplane of the Azerbaijan Airlines, which was en route from Baku to Grozny. So according to Reuters, Russia has shot down a civilian airplane, killing lots of people. This plane was by the Azerbaijan Airlines en route from Baku to Grozny. This plane was shot down by the Russia's air defense systems, by the unprofessional work of Russia's air defense systems. Moreover, this plane, after this incident, Russian army jammed this plane and enables this plane's GPS to properly work. That's why this plane has to fly over the Caspian Sea to reach the territory of Kazakhstan. And this is how exactly Russia tried to cover its crime against civilians. They tried to jam this plane and they tried to do all they can just to make this plane crash in the Caspian Sea, to cover all the consequences, to cover all the details of this crime from the entire world. That's how Russia works, and that's how Russian regime works. So Azerbaijan government is waiting for apologies from the Russian government, and Azerbaijan government is waiting for at least a public statement from Russia, which will and acknowledgement of this incident. However, Russian state media and Kremlin has not yet commented on this issue because they have nothing to say, as this army worked unprofessionally for another time. That's why this is a big blow for Russian Federation, for Vladimir Putin, and a big shame on the international stage. Stay with us on YouTube. That's all for today. Stay with us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and glory to Ukraine.